Hello and welcome to the show. Real talk now. Walking away from a troubled marriage or relationship isn't easy, but staying in one isn't any easier, right? Especially when the bonds of trust have been broken. Arlancia and Antawan Williams know that story all too well. Infidelity started before they got married and then continued into their marriage. But after some really open, candid, and kind of uncomfortable conversations, they managed to make their way back to a space of love and trust. And they're here to share how they did it. Welcome Antawan Williams and his wife Arlancia. She is the author of the book, Cheating Saved My Marriage. Whoa, that's a doozy. Before we get into how, I want to get into the why. Let's start with when you were dating and there was infidelity. Who was the first?
Antawan.
Okay.
Antawan was the first one. It started, I would say, maybe 3 months after we started dating.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happened? I mean, well, obviously we know what happened, but why does it happen?
Well, great question. I didn't take the relationship serious when we first met.
Okay.
And I thought it would be another relationship. Hey, I'm not married, just another relationship.
If you're not married, you're single type of,
yeah,
got it.
Single, I had the single mentality. Single man, DC, I'm becoming, my real estate thing was booming.
Yeah.
And life was great.
Yeah, understood. But you obviously took things very seriously, right?
I did.
At the time, so how did you find out he was cheating?
His telephone. I broke into his voicemail.
Gotcha, okay.
And overstepped my boundaries at the time because I had suspicions because of sometimes the communication, and when you kind of change your routine a little bit, our antennas
So
go up.
were you living separately or living together?
We moved in together after 3 months after we met. Yes.
Wow. So generally speaking, when we start digging through folks' phones, it's because we already know what we're going to find, right? Did you kind of really know that this is what was going on and you were just looking for the evidence to confront Antawan?
I was.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what did that confrontation look like?
He denied it at first, but I had my proof, and I wanted him to be upfront with me about what he was doing, and I wanted him to end it with me knowing that it's ended instead of trusting him to go and say, hey, I can't talk to you anymore.
So you wanted to obviously stay in the relationship. You said you were going to have to go in this with her. Okay,
Yes.
I'm not going, and I'm telling you I'm not going anywhere is what you said.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yes, I felt like I had to constantly prove to him that I'm not going anywhere, because I think he had a lot of relationships that didn't last very long, and he didn't take women serious or relationships serious.
Antoine, I'll let you speak for yourself. Was that the case?
Yeah, that kind of what it was. My whole life, since I was 16, 17 years old. Growing up in Washington, D.C., it's not big like Atlanta, but everybody knows somebody that knows somebody.
Absolutely.
And life was great. Life was good for me.
Understood.
Yeah, and I just, I never had my heart broken, never been in love, so I didn't take it serious.
Understood.
Yeah.
So at what point did you propose? How long after the period of cheating and you guys said, okay, we're going to make this work out? At what point did you get married?
She gave me an ultimatum.
Well, that's the point where you get married. Understood. Okay.
Yeah.
So
she moved in my house after like 3 months, right?
And that's also the point where it becomes, but you'd already cheated at that point, right?
Yeah.
So at what point did you decide, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to commit and get married?
I knew she was a good lady, and it was all on me. I mean, I just had to do the right thing. Grow up, as my dad said, you got to grow up and be a man and face life and not run from person to person. Even though they're available for you and they want you or whatever, for whatever reason, you got to find one and stick with one.
And I have to ask you, if you already knew what you'd been dealing with, how did you get to the point where you were comfortable getting married?
He was a great provider. We had a great friendship. I couldn't go, no matter how angry I got, I still called him. I'm not gonna call him anymore. I wind up calling him.
Yeah,
I wind up
I get it.
I wind up forgiving him.
And y'all get it too, so don't judge.
Yes,
I get it, understood.
I wind up forgiving him, and then he'll bring up, like, early on, I wanted us to get a house together. And he said, I'm moving too fast. But he would always tell me exactly what I wanted to hear. Oh, no.
And you end up bragging about the media, right? In a public, about the relationship on social media.
I wouldn't say bragging, but I was happy.
Yeah.
And I wanted
So you post
to
about
share.
it. I'll pull bragging and just post. You were happy, right?
I was
Things
very
were going well. These are some of the types of pictures you were posting, right?
Yes.
Beautiful home,
Yes.
beautiful car. But you get married how soon before things changed? Who cheated first in the marriage?
Antoine.
Okay.
Back
So
to Antoine.
and again, I appreciate you just being this honest. So
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
here to pounce,
I get
and
it.
I don't want
Yeah.
folks to judge.
Okay.
I know
Right.
this is difficult to talk about. But what happened again?
Basically the same thing. No reason. Like I tell her all the time, a lot of times men do things and don't think about it. No emotional attachment, which is sad to say.
So at what point, and I get that,
Yeah.
I hear you. I don't always get it, but I do hear what you're
Yeah.
saying. So what's going through your mind when you realize this is happening again? Now we're married, we got these cars, we got this house, we've got this life, and we still have this infidelity at the core. Did you?
I thought it was me. I thought he wasn't attracted to me anymore. You know, maybe he wants someone more submissive. Maybe he wants someone that's not business minded, that has their own business. Because it seems like the ladies were a little dependent and they didn't have much going on with themselves.
May I ask, is that when you started cheating?
I started in 2020.
So how long had you been married at that point?
We had been married for 10 years.
Okay. And for you, was it just, I'm done, but I don't want a divorce, or I'm going to show you how this feels?
A little of both. I never wanted a divorce. I just wanted what I was missing. I felt lonely in the marriage. And I need validation that, you know, I still got it, so to speak. Like, what is it? And sometimes when you hear someone and they tell you exactly what you want to hear,
So how
it
did you-
makes you feel a little better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did.
get that. How did you tell? Did you find out? How did you discover?
He found out the same way I found out about
Through
on
the
my phone.
How did that feel?
I ain't really know the thing. That's the first time ever in my life it happened. That I know of anyway.
I was going to say
Yeah, that I know of. Yeah,
Okay,
that I know
okay,
of. And,
understood.
It was a shock.
But it's
man.
your wife,
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
your wife.
still
It's
a
little
shock.
different. There's a difference.
Did you feel like, man, this is what I get, or man, it's time for me to get it together? What was that like
I'm
for
just
you?
mad, angry, man. Feel violated, more than anything. Violated, and I say, well, I knew I was the cause of it. Some of my actions that I've done led up to all those years.
Yeah.
And my friends, we talk a lot. A lot of times, like as they say, women fed up and they get tired of it,
Yeah.
and they try to get you back. So that's what I kind of thought it was, trying to pay me back.
When we return, we're going to talk about how the two of you started having the conversations that really needed to be held, right? Because that's what it took.
Yes.
Some real honesty and some courageous conversations. That conversation continues right after the break. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I really want to thank you for season 3 of Portia. It's because of loyal viewers like you that we keep getting to share this daily dose of positivity all across the country. So just a reminder, I still need you to like, comment, and subscribe. And go ahead and tell your friends. You can catch us now in Orlando, in San Francisco, in Atlanta, and all across the country on Fox Soul. Tell your friends. We'll see you soon on Portia.